Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of FutureTalks by IT Insights. I'm your host, Justyna Szymańska-Laskowska, and I'm delighted to introduce my today's guest to you, Kathrina Meisl, Managing Director at secunet International and Global Head of Customer and Strategic Projects at secunet. Hello Kathrina, and thank you so much for meeting me in the wonderful city of Munich.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Kathrina, to kick things off, what are the biggest forces shaping the cybersecurity landscape today, and where does AI fit into it? Is it an enabler, a disruptor, or has it not changed the game fundamentally yet? If you could give us a bit of a helicopter view, that would be great.
Okay, perfect. So I see different forces coming in. So first of all, I would say AI is not a force coming in that's new or reshaping the whole industry. It's just that the whole industry is now scaling up due to AI. So AI is scaling the whole business, and also that comes in with other forces. So there is more threats going on, more cyber threats. They have always been there, but now with AI, it's just more and better and advanced and more advanced and quicker and whatnot. So it's always the scaling factor that comes in with the AI part, but it's not the new part as such. So we have the cyber threats as forces. So it's always about infrastructures. You have to rely on digital infrastructures. So with the force of digitalization now also coming into not businesses only, but also in governmental parts.
Right.
Finally, also in Germany. So the part is that you need secure infrastructures, and everybody is using it, but you have to rely on infrastructures, and that is also one main force that is now coming in.
And do you see the AI in scale in success, or is it still in some areas not so successful?
That's a very interesting question, and I have a very, let's say, it's a two-faced answer. So I see that AI is coming in and helping businesses and can help improve processes, can help speed up things, can also help reduce human faults, maybe, because there's always a human factor.
Right.
Also in the IT security, there's always human factor to be considered. But I would say AI is not a business model as such. So you can use AI to be better and to improve your processes, your products, your solutions, especially when it comes to IT security. But I would not always say that AI is a business model as such that you can then resell to your customers.
Since our listeners come from diverse backgrounds, I imagine those on the business side might be wondering about the real challenges in cybersecurity today. Could you share an example from your day-to-day work?
Yes, sure. So there are several. So as you mentioned, I come from something that is called Homeland Security. We focus on a lot of things, but also on so-called ABC. ABC is automated border control. So you may know it when you are at the airport and you go through e-gates, so we call it e-gate, and you put your passport on that gate and you look at the camera and maybe or hopefully the gate opens and you go through seamlessly without even having to talk to the border control police officer there. So that is something we do, and that is a struggle, because you see a very interesting or seamless process that seems to be easy. But what you have to consider is it's not easy, because there are several stakes you have to consider. You have the software part, the hardware part, you have the legacy system at the airport you have to connect with, you have the identity verification, and when you look at the camera you have also the document verification when you put on your passport. So everything has to be aligned within seconds. So it's very convenient as a passenger, and I also like it, so I will use it again on the weekend. But what is the second part is it has to be not only convenient for us as passengers, it has to also be secure, because the state, there is a law, and the state requires us that there is a secure process. Yes.
So let's continue that maybe. So it's very convenient for the passengers, you said, but from the security perspective, so what are some unintended consequences linked to such an innovation?
Well, innovation is always good, I would say, but you always have to consider regulations, especially in that part. Also, when it comes to border control, for example, I always use that as example because it's so touchable to people, because we can experience it. It's not only IT security in the space or whatnot. We can really see it and experience it. So we always need regulations. Regulations in order to make a process seamless. So we can use the whole border control process throughout Europe. But in order to do that, there need to be regulations and frameworks, security frameworks that are agreed on. And so some might think that hinders innovation or maybe there are brakes on innovation.
Right.
But I would say you need both.
Okay.
You need the regulation in order to scale up your innovation.
And what is the appropriate level of balance here? Because we often this topic, the EU regulations versus innovations, comes up at many conferences, conversations, and you work for a company operating globally but based in Germany. So a country often seen as rather safe and secure, but also overly regulated. So what is the appropriate kind of balance here?
I would not disagree on that part. So I would say we can pull back a bit with the regulations in some areas. But when it really comes to IT security, we have to think about it, what makes sense. Maybe there are some regulations ahead of the innovation, so maybe that's wrong. So when you think about the AI Act, for example, maybe we over-regulate there before the AI is even part of processes. So we need a balance, and we can dial back a bit within Germany and also within Europe.
Okay, so now a little bit of statistics. According to PwC's Global Digital Trust Insights 2025, only 2% of organizations have implemented cyber resilience across their entire organization, despite rising threat levels. And we see this also at Future Processing. What, in your opinion, are the most dangerous security threats then, especially when it comes to balancing digital and offline environments? And also, maybe, do you have any thoughts on how to minimize such risks when handling classified documents or sensitive documentation?
Well, yes. So we know that, or I know that. So it's always a matter of convenience again. So there is a human factor, and I totally understand it. So I also want to have quick processes, convenient processes, also in my work environment. And sometimes that's not always in allegiance with security. Sometimes security and IT security can feel uncomfortable,
like a burden,
to
the process.
Exactly. And that is also something we have to find a balance there, so that we can not experience IT security as a burden, but rather as an add-on. So that is something the industry has to work on. But also the mindset has a bit to shift, because as persons we are convenient, I would say so. And when it comes to the part of what can I think of, yes, there's again the human factor. So when you take, for example, paper trails, paperwork, in maybe some agencies or whatnot, especially with classified documents. Or
public administration, which we know has a lot of documents.
Especially in Germany. They like their paper. So, there's always the factor of the human. You take out, for example, a classified document, a regular, with, let's say, secrets to make it easy, and you have to work on it. You work on it, and then now I need my colleague's opinion, or maybe from another agency, and I have to send it via courier, maybe. So there comes another human, takes it, brings it to another person. So maybe there is a week in between, because whatever happens, because
documents can be lost, or
also the agency is another town and not in Berlin but somewhere else, or whatever. So there is always the time factor, the human factor. I do not know who really worked on the paper, maybe who tampered on the paper, or tampered with the paper. Where is it stored? Who is the courier? What is happening with it? So if you would take that workflow into a digital workflow, you can really see maybe who worked on the paper, who will work, who is allowed to access it. So you really need a lot of access control. You need a lot of you need access.
But there is more control over it,
Yes.
and there's trace, right?
Yes,
So you
there's
can always trace.
And there's always the part of, can I see the part of transparency? And that is very important when it comes to digitalization, and you can always rely on that because you can tamper with it. So there is definitely the part of efficiency here if you take out the paper part. Yes.
And how would you assess the level of advancement moving from this offline analog space to the digital one?
Well, there is on some levels very good, and on some levels we can work on it. So it's a mix, I would say. But yeah, and as I said, in Germany, we like the paper still.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so Kathrina, moving on a little bit to your career now, because I imagine our listeners can be at an early stage in their career, so perhaps you could share some advice with them. Was there a defining moment when you realized the direction of your professional path?
I would like to say yes, but no. So I started my career at Siemens in a controlling department, I think 16 years back. And I stayed there for quite a few years. Then I moved on to strategy and M&A, mergers, acquisitions. I bought a lot of companies for other companies, so spent a lot of money. And after some point there, like 12 years in let's say administrative functions, I decided I wanna move into the business part. So now I'm working with international customers on very complex but super interesting IT projects globally. So I would not say there is one defining moment, but there have been small decisions all over the place. So small decisions, yes, I would like to take on the chance. Yes, I go into somewhere I do not feel comfortable yet, where I have to put in the work. But it always comes back to it rewards you. When you put in the work, it rewards you. So I would say it's an amount of small decisions, but not one moment.
Right, because I imagine some listeners might be asking themselves the question, is it better to stick to one ladder or maybe have a career with pivots, with some professional
I would always advise it comes up to you as a person. So there are some persons really in one profession and they are the experts there and they want to stay there and it's perfect. So, but there are also other people like myself with several interests and it would be a shame not to try out several things. And what I also learned is what I learned early in my career, the controlling things, which I did not like. They help me so much today when it comes to projects and to contracts, when I have a look at numbers, because when you understand numbers, you understand the business. So,
especially if they are good numbers.
I prefer good numbers.
So let's stick with your career a little bit more, because apart from being a managing director and a global head of projects, you're also a mentor and a lecturer. So personally, I don't know when you find time for this, but this is very, very impressive. But tell us more about this. Do you see any similarities or differences between the younger generations, if any? And again, if you could share maybe a piece of advice of what you know now that you wish someone, maybe a mentor, had told you earlier?
Very good question. Also, thank you. So, several things. So I think the younger people now, they don't differ too much from us then. We always think that, but I don't think it is that case. There's some part they are different. They are easier for change. So they like change and they are more convenient with it. So for us, change is sometimes hard and we don't like it.
We're resilient to change.
Yes. And so I think because they grow up like that, because the world is changing so fast, they are used to it. So that is a change I see, or a difference I see. But being a mentor, I've been mentored for like 15 years now. I always have different mentors because I say there's not one perfect person for me. So I always pick people who are better than myself in a certain part of my job or whatnot. And then I stick around, have like 3 or 4 different mentors, and I have one perfect person for me. And I try to be the same for others. So I'm a mentor myself for 6-7 years now. And I think being a mentor means listening more than telling, because when you listen, you learn about the person and you can give specific advice. And it is I think it's important to give back, and not everybody has to stumble over the same hurdles than I had. So it's very important, and maybe you can help with network, maybe you can help with a specific piece of advice with the boss, with negotiation. It always starts with negotiation at some point, with salaries or whatnot. So I think it's very important, and I like being a mentor. I think it's more rewarding than time what do we say? Time
consuming.
Thank you. Time consuming.
Yes. So can anyone apply to become your mentee?
Yes, of course. You can just drop a message on LinkedIn or whatnot. So I'm quite booked at the moment, but I will find time.
Okay, so we encourage younger generations to do that. So, Kathrina, as we're coming to the end of our conversation, let's highlight one more topic that I believe is close to both of us. So, women in IT.
Oh, yes.
And I can personally relate to it. Do you see again any differences or challenges, similarities, for example, when it comes to negotiations, which you mentioned with customers, or working in very critical areas, highly sensitive areas? What's your take here?
It's a very interesting question. So technology or IT security, these are sectors not filled with a lot of women, and especially not in senior leadership positions. Also, my customers are mainly men. So there's random a woman there. So that's sad, actually. I like also the men, but it would be nice to have also some women counterparts sometimes.
Right.
And when it comes to negotiation, so you always negotiate. You negotiate, as I said, with your boss, with your colleagues, with yourself, and also with customers or stakeholders. And what comes in there is the preparation, the excellence, and the excellence comes with the preparation. And so the consistency counts. So you have to put in the work, as I said earlier, and then you can really negotiate with everybody. And it doesn't matter if you're a woman or if you're young or old or whatnot, but you have to put in the work and they respect you after that. And so you need consistency and you need some kind of being yourself.
So that's another great piece of advice that that you shared. Thank you so much. Kathrina, that was very inspiring. So thank you again for your time and to taking the time to talk to me and for all of your insights. And to our listeners, thank you all for tuning in. And we hope to see you at our next episode of Future Talks. See you next time.
IT Insights, talks on business and IT challenges with tech leaders. Visit us at itinsights.tech and dive into our podcasts, webinars, and events.